Vítáme vás na první video anglické gramatiky z IMAG Moravy. Já jsem Rob, majitel, jeden z lektorů tady. Jsem Američan a bydlím v Brně už 10 let a jak vidíte, umím česky. Trochu. Naše dnešní téma je základní minulé časy v angličtině. Já budu mluvit hlavně anglicky, protože já myslím, že je to důležité, že pochopíte tu gramatiku v angličtině i v češtině. Ale se nebojte, já budu používat sprostá slova. Co je? Momentiček. Prosím. Aha, jo. A tady dneska se mnou je paní Goldwaldová, ona dělá kameru a taky je naše uklizačka. A on mi řekl, že mám to špatně. Já budu používat prostá slova, nesprostá, ale prostá, jako základní. Dobře, takže jdeme na to. Okay, so first in English we have the past simple, okay? The past simple in English is just an action. It's finished, it's in the past, maybe we know when, but it's there. And then a second action can be there. And then maybe a third action. A famous example from history is I came, I saw, I conquered. This is from Julius Caesar, nějaký římský císař. And this is, přišel jsem, viděl jsem, conquered, nevím, co to je. We have one action, and then a second action, and then a third action. So, I came, I saw, I conquered. Okay? A very good Czech example for this would be from this Saturday in Prague. So, the people went to Prague. They protested. And then Nečas and Kalosek did what? The people went to Prague, they protested, and then Nečas and Kalosek gave the people the finger. So again, past simple, action in the past, completed, finished. I came, I saw, I conquered. The people went to Prague, they protested, and then Nečas and Kalosek gave the people what they wanted? No. They gave the people the finger. Okay? So that's the past simple. Now, basic English past is, what is it? You know? Past continuous. Or some people say past progressive. It's the same thing. No difference. Okay? Alright, so the past progressive has about 3 or 4 main rules, but they're easy. Okay? The first rule, for example, is the police detective question. Okay? For example, there are some people and they are in a hotel in the mountains. Okay? We'll say, like, you know, there's a man from Brno, there's a man from Prague. Okay? So in the morning, the police find a dead body. Okay? It's a mystery. So now the police and the detectives, they need to ask questions to all the people in the hotel. Okay? So the police use this. Alright? So this is now and this is the past. Okay? So the police know that the murder, the death, happened, past simple, at 9 o'clock, okay? But the police need to know information from the people about their activities when this happened, okay? So the police ask, what were you doing last night at 9 o'clock? Okay? What were you doing last night at 9 o'clock? Okay? The man from Brno, he says, I was sitting in the pub with my good friends. Okay? So, at 9 o'clock, the man from Brno was sitting in the pub with his friends. This means at 1 minute before 9, he was sitting in the pub with his friends, and after 9, he was sitting in the pub with his friends. Alright? Then, they ask the man from Prague, what were you doing last night at 9 o'clock? And the man from Prague says, of course, I was counting my money. You know? So again, so the man from Prague was counting his money before 9 o'clock, and then again, he was counting his money after 9 o'clock. It takes a lot of time. Okay, so this is the first rule about the past continuous, past progressive. It's an action which is happening at a specific time in the past. Alright? Now, the second one. Alright, the second rule for the past continuous or past progressive is we have an action in the past. Okay? This action started, it's going, and then there's a second action, but the first action continues. So, in the first example, we had an action, 9 o'clock, action. Here, we have an action, second action, and action. Alright? So we have an action which is interrupted or defined, like a definition, defined by a second action, okay? I will give you a good example from Brno, and I will also give you an example from Prague, okay? The example from Brno is Sister Mary, she's a sister, not in the hospital, but a different kind of sister. She's this kind of sister. Like katolický tučňák. Yeah? So Sister Mary was crossing Chara when she heard a bell. Okay? So Sister Mary was crossing Chara when she heard a bell. So again, we have now, we have this action. So Sister Mary is crossing Chara when she heard a bell. So crossing, 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 ding, 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 crossing, 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 crossing. Okay? Now, a very, very good and clear example from Prague. I hope that everyone knows who Mr. Janošek is. Mr. Janošek had some problems with the police and alcohol and other things. Okay? So, Janošek was running, like, oh, he was drunk, so Janošek was running through the park when someone photographed him. Okay? So again, we can use the same picture. So Janošek was running through the park, like, and here was just a normal person in the park, and this person saw, Janošek running through the park, and probably had this reaction. And they took their phone and, So Janošek was running to the park, and someone, and he continued running. Okay? So, we have an action which starts, it continues, a second action, first action continues. Alright, now, the next rule. So again, we had an action in the past at a time. We have an action in the past, the second action. Alright? Now we have something like this, but with a big difference. Alright? Let's go back to Sister Mary, okay? Sister Mary was crossing Chara when have Sister Mary, nice Catholic woman. She's crossing Chara, and then BAM! Shalina into the side of the head. Alright? So, again, we have now. We have here the second action, which is the Shalina. And then we have the first action here, which is Sister Mary crossing Chara. Okay? Now, before the circle finishes, because Sister Mary finished the action. However, here, does she? No, she doesn't. All right? Now another example from Prague. All right? So, in Prague, there's a very, very, very nice Asian woman, and her name is Ming Yi. Okay? Ming Yi is a nice Asian woman. She's in Prague, not doing any problems. Okay? And then she had a car accident. It was not her fault, but she was driving and another car hit her. So she's very, very angry. She's very, very angry. And now she's standing on the street and she's screaming at the driver, Ti Heizra, Ti Heizra. Heizra is the Asian version of Heisel. Ale Aziati mají problém s výslovností písmena L. Říkají r. Takže Ti Heizra. So Ming Yi was screaming. Ti Heizra. Ti Heizra. When Janošek ran her over with his giant Porsche. Okay? So, again, the action starts. Ming Yi is very angry. Ti Heizra, Ti Heizra, Ti Heizra, Ti boom. Oh. So the action starts, it continues, and then boom, a second action stops the first action. Here, the second action is Mr. Jaroszek running over Ming Yi with his gigantic Porsche. Okay? So, this is the end of the first part of basic past tenses in English. The next video will have a continuation and exercises. So go ahead.